All right, welcome everybody. We're going to call our meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to take a moment of silent prayer for the victims of the shooting in Florida. If we could take a moment to remember the victims. All right, thank you, everybody. We also wanted to announce that the President Bonanno is not able to be here tonight, but she will be back on March 5th. And our first item is the approval of the January 16th, 2018 regular meeting minutes.
I'll move that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 4-0. On our presentations, I'm going to turn it over to our town manager, Jim Manny, to discuss the procedures in place right now at the schools in light of what's happened in the last week. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mannix. Last Wednesday, I'll address the town council and the members of the audience as well. Last Wednesday, there was yet another school shooting in the United States. In Florida, as we all know, left 17 people dead. Another tragedy. This has created a tremendous amount of anxiety in Narragansett and as well across the United States. The school superintendent, myself, there's been a lot of discussion on this. A lot of parents, grandparents, and school children have, like I said, a tremendous amount of anxiety over what happened. Are they safe in Narragansett? In speaking with Mr. Mannix, I thought it was appropriate that we address this issue for about 5 minutes, just so that you could, the townspeople, town council, and everyone involved can really see what we've been doing behind the scenes that we haven't promoted up to this point. There's been a tremendous amount of work, not only since I've been town manager for 18 months, but for years past, of coming up with an appropriate plan of action, a coordinated plan of action with the police department, fire department, Rhode Island Emergency Management, and the school system. This was amped up. We actually just had a meeting on this 2 weeks ago with the police chief, school superintendent, Mr. Gormley, who's the head of operations for the school, myself, the police, once I said the police chief. We met and discussed where are we at and where are we going with this plan. What I want to emphasize is that just because we don't talk about it a lot doesn't mean we don't have a great plan in place. And sometimes what's left unsaid is just as good as saying it. But I think the time is now to start discussing this and let the townspeople know just how prepared the town of Narragansett is. One of the biggest questions any municipal leader is faced with, any person in emergency management, is people will ask, what is the biggest threat that faces you? What is the biggest threat that faces your town, your municipality, your state? Is it a natural disaster? Is it a flood, hurricane, blizzard? Is it a man-made disaster, an oil spill, hazmat spill, bridge collapse? Is it a terrorist attack, an active shooter, a shooter at the beach, a shooter at the school? The answer to that is the biggest threat to any municipality is not being prepared for any of the above, all of it, all the time. My background, as you all know, had 31 years in law enforcement. I spent 15 years on the state police SWAT team. I was four years as the SWAT team commander. I know what to look for, and I know what type of plan I would expect, and this town has it. This town has a very comprehensive plan to protect not only our students, but to protect our infrastructure and protect this town. From day one, when I became the town manager, I developed a relationship with Dr. Cummins, who's in the room right now, with his operations officer. And one of our big topics was not about the budget, was not about, of course that's important, all that stuff, but about the safety of the children in school. What are we prepared to do? Dr. Cummings came from a very large school district where there were many challenges in Connecticut. He brought this point up, and it's very true. Narragansett has a relatively small school department with a relatively small number of students in a small community. That works to our benefit. We can see the warning signs. We have the people in place to address those warning signs, whether they're mental health professionals or just counselors of any type. And they have intervened in the past and will continue to do so. Like I said, 2 weeks ago, we had a meeting with Chief Corrigan where he outlined what exactly his response would be in the event of an incident such as the one that took place last Wednesday. He has a very good plan. First off, all the officers in the police department, everyone, is trained in active shooter training. From the roll call level to the tabletop level to field trainings and formal training. We have a full-time school resource officer, an armed full-time school resource officer, that his job is to go to all 3 schools every day and show his presence. And he's a very intimidating person if you haven't met him. He's very, he does a tremendous job at the school. It's Officer Kyle Rooney. We, just today, officers right now are doing force-on-force training this week, which has been planned for weeks in advance. We have a full-scale active shooter exercise called Operation Red Tide, scheduled for May 23rd. Chief Scott Poddington is putting that together. That's going to involve role players on the beach in a full active shooter type training scenario with Rhode Island Emergency Management paying the bill for overtime, role players, and et cetera. The schools conduct 5 non-fire drills annually. The schools have grade 1 lock sets, 2 tier entries, improved communication, and panic alarms. But is the system foolproof? Is it perfect? No. There are always areas we need to improve on, and that's what we address when we have these meetings. One of the areas that I was very impressed with this town was that Mr. Gormley researched and took it upon himself to start installing this special film that goes on the windows that could prevent an active shooter from making entry in the bottom floor windows. We still have a long ways to go. It's a very expensive proposition, but it's our priority, and we should have every school safeguarded in this manner shortly. One of the areas that we constantly work with is the community outreach and dealing with the parents. We received many emails. Dr. Cummings did. He forwarded me one today that just showed just how much anxiety the parents, grandparents, and the children have. This parent was very concerned that their child did not want to go to school. The parent was concerned. I'm here today to tell you that while I'm not going to get into the specifics of the plan right now, I'm working with Dr. Cummings to have some type of forum with the parents where they can address their concerns and we can answer them. The point I'm trying to make is we have great emergency managers here, police chief, fire chief, operations for the school. We have a very good plan in the event something like this should happen, and Narragansett is prepared. Thank you.
Thank you, and I know that both on the school personnel and the police department have worked on this for the past several years as well, so thank you for that. I wanted to remind everybody, just one other announcement about homestead applications. Anyone who is a homesteader in the town of Narragansett, if you have till March 15th, preferably earlier, to get the applications into the tax assessor's office. So just wanted to give that reminder to everybody, especially those watching at home. All right, our next item is the open forum public comment portion of the meeting. People who want to comment on a topic of concern in the town, please come forward. Just state your name and address for the record as well.
My name is Stephen Garfinkel. I live at 220 Boston Neck Road, Narragansett, which is the corner of Boston Neck Road and the northern side of Star Drive West. Last year, my wife contacted the chair of the council to ask for relief from the summer parking on Star Drive West. Our street, which is a residential street, had become a de facto municipal parking lot during beach season and a de facto municipal town dump during beach season. In early August, the town accommodated part of our request by making the south side of Star Drive West non-parking, left the north side, which is our side, alone. The result of that between then and Labor Day and thereafter was to make the situation on the north side even more intolerable. We now had more cars trying to squeeze into the same amount of space. We had more trash, more noise, more people parking on lawns, blocking driveways. There's no quality of life left during the summer. I had 3 mailboxes destroyed last summer. My across-the-street neighbor, who's a 91-year-old widow, had 5 mailboxes destroyed, 2 after the ban on the north side was imposed. So we thank you for what you did with the north side, the south side. However, we're back to request some help on the north side. Also, as I will explain in a moment, giving us the relief on the north side will also accomplish the goals of the town as we understand it. From what I've read in the Narragansett Times and recently on the radio, the town is attempting to control the size of the crowds on the town beach by raising rates and doing other things and trying to control what we refer to in the newspaper as rowdy young people. The people who park on our street don't pay to park on the beach. You could charge $100 a day. They come in 2 waves. The first wave comes before 7 a.m. They're on the beach before you're collecting any fees. The second wave comes around 3 to 3:30, trying to find whatever spaces have been left open, and they don't pay any fees to get on the beach, but they come after the fees are collected. They leave tremendous amount of trash. From what we have to pick up the litter, they obviously don't even spend any money on the town beach because the wrappers and the bottles and everything we pick up are not items that are sold at the beach. So again, we're more than asking, we're begging for your help. You please give us parking by permit only during the beach season, no parking during the beach season, 1 hour parking during the beach season, no parking between 7 and 7, and whatever you can come up with. But we deserve some quality of life, and we have not had that for the last few years. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Stan? Hello.
Hello, my name is Rachel Weiss-Smith, and I live at 5 Judith Ave. And I'm here to just touch on what you were speaking about, the schools. I have 2 children, one in the elementary school in 4th grade and one in the middle school in 7th grade. And I guess I'm here representing them and their concerns coming from within the school and other parents who aren't here because none of us knew about these meetings. I guess none of us read the newspaper anymore. So there's a disconnect between our generation of parents and these meetings. I only found out today because I did email Dr. Cummings, and I found out today through him about this meeting and wasn't able to rally other people to get here. But I am one of those concerned parents, and I come with a specific concern. You know, we all sort of feel disempowered and helpless. We're not able to do anything. We can't all agree on gun reform. We feel like we can't change the laws, but what I feel like we can do as communities is come together on a local level and try to make changes in the schools. And everything you talked about sounds great. I have a lot of faith in the school system, in Kyle Rooney, in everything that's in place now. But the specific concern, and I don't know, I'm hoping this can be investigated. My children, both, again, in different schools, and I don't know what it's like in the high school, have been scared for years about how all of the classrooms connect with doors that have no locks. And, I've been in the schools for years and years. I've raised my kids here forever. I haven't gone and actually investigated the doors myself, but I've asked my kids 100 times, are you sure there's no locks on those doors? And they say, yes, there's no locks on the doors, which obviously creates a great deal of unease in the kids, because if there was a shooter in the school, all the shooter would need to do is get into one door and then he can go from room to room to room to room with no locks and no barriers between the classrooms, which kind of renders a lockdown virtually useless. They have these lockdown drills, but the kids do not feel safe despite all of the things that are in place. So I'm hoping that this can be investigated, and if indeed there are no locks on these doors between the classrooms, if locks can be installed on the doors. These schools were built a long time ago, back when I was a kid, before I was a kid, and we weren't living in this age of school shootings the way we are now, so they weren't built to be prepared for this kind of thing. And obviously a lot of updates need to be made, but clearly when this was built this way, it wasn't thinking about a shooter going from room to room to room and just taking down people without any type of barriers in between the classrooms. So, my kids are begging me to homeschool them, and I am tearful every day putting them on the bus that this will be the day that they are murdered in school. So, we all feel helpless. And I feel like it should be more of a community discussion, and I don't know how to do this. A forum like this would be an ideal way if we could actually get parents in here. Everybody's got ideas. Everybody throws their ideas out on Facebook, and it's useless because everybody's a Facebook vigilante and it does nothing tangible. If we could get everybody in a room and everybody could present their own ideas, then maybe, we could think outside the box. We all have kids who are coming home with concerns from within the classrooms, and I feel like we should listen to the kids too, and as the parents, we are the next best thing to having the kids, talk themselves in here. I don't know if it is a pipe dream to get metal detectors at the doors. The kids are concerned that a kid would come in with a gun in their backpack and it would never get detected, and then the person's already in the school. And then, what good is locking them out if they're coming from within? So there's a lot of things, a lot of dialogue in my house, and I'm sure a lot of dialogue in the homes of other parents around the town and around the country that could be useful in helping to come up with a more comprehensive plan for protecting our kids, which obviously we all want to do. So.
Thank you. As a start, you can tell your colleagues and other parents about our town council meetings and this portion of the meeting, which is the public comment portion as a beginning. And obviously, I know it sounds like you've reached out to some people in the town hall, but those meetings are 7:30, first and third Mondays of every month. So,
Okay.
right here at town hall. So
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Stan?
Stan Wojciechowski, Narragansett. I want to thank the town manager for his comments. I kind of familiar with the staff and everyone, and I can assure you, I feel very comfortable that they're very professional, and they've been around a while, and they will handle this in a very professional manner, and I know I feel better about it, and I do have a grandchild in school, so I feel better about it, and I'm sure other parents should also. But what I want to speak about was green signs. I don't know if you know some green signs around town. Green signs were saying something like students were trespassing, and I guess this green signs were supposed to be against students trespassing on other people's property. I was just hoping that we're not getting another ad hoc committee issue where you got a pile of people getting all over the students over trespassing. Whether they're students or not, if they're trespassing, everyone should call the police. You call the police. I mean, this is not, I don't see an issue where we ought to be getting all over students for trespassing. We ought to be getting everyone who trespasses. And I've been around a while and a couple of properties, and I really haven't had people trespass. Had some break-ins, but I haven't had any trespassing. And certainly no students. And no, again, it's we don't want to discriminate when we start thinking of how to solve problems. And the police have shown that they're really good at what they do. And if somebody's trespassing, we don't need to post signs, And if they keep on posting signs, I guess I'm going to get a sign because I I got some dogs that go on my lawn and poop on the lawn, so I guess I should get a sign out there and say, we're against all dogs in town. And that's how ridiculous this kind of thing is. So I hope that we satisfy these people with action rather than signs out there with some kind of ad hoc issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. Does any council member have an item on the consent agenda they would like to remove? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 4-0. Item number 9 is a motion to approve legal action against opioid manufacturers and joint other multi-district litigation against the manufacturers and distributors and authorize the town manager to sign an agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Wasn't this on, why is it open?
Yeah, so the reason that, it was on last time because we were looking at the kind of the concept of litigation, but we didn't have the agreement attached. If Jim or Mark wanted to summarize the agreement in any way, but you feel free, but it's up
I'll
to
turn
you.
it over to the town solicitor in
Yeah.
about 10 seconds, but since we last spoke 2 weeks ago, there are now 21 municipalities in the state of Rhode Island that have signed on to this opioid lawsuit. And I'll let the solicitor just get, as per your request, we've attached the contract that the town would have to sign, authorize me to sign to move forward with this.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The agreement, as previously discussed, is with a local law firm, a Rhode Island law firm, Hamel, Waxa, Allen, and Collins, and 7 or 8 other law firms from around the country. So there, as Jim had mentioned, there's 21 other municipalities within Rhode Island that have signed up, but there are numerous municipalities throughout the country that have signed up. The agreement is a typical fee agreement, a contingent fee agreement, in that there are no cost or expense to the town if there is not a favorable judgment. And then the fee and expenses are calculated based on the award, and there's a cap on what the expenses can amount to. So as you can imagine, this is going to be extraordinarily difficult litigation, time-consuming, and very expensive. And it would be prohibitive to pursue on your own. I know Providence is contemplating it. I would be astonished that they take it upon themselves to do that. So I think if the town has damages, which I know the chief is and the town manager have identified, then I don't see any downside to signing the agreement. It's a typical contingent fee agreement for a very complicated lawsuit.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved 4-0. Item number 10, a motion to authorize the town solicitor to file a motion to intervene with the Public Utilities Commission relative to the January 30th, 2018 rate increase filing by Suez Water of Rhode Island.
So moved.
Second.
This item comes from Jeff. Are there any questions for him?
But a brief discussion on that, a summary?
Jim or Jeff, would you like to give a brief summary?
I'll turn this over to Jeff Cesarini for the particulars.
Thank you.
Suing everybody, huh?
Seems like we just did this, doesn't it?
Yes.
Suez Water, which supplies water directly to a number of properties in Narragansett and also as a wholesale provider to us, has filed a rate increase request with the PUC as of January 30th. The rate increase itself is about 4 inches thick. It's full of all sorts of financial detail and reasoning, and what it really distills down to is that Suez, as a privately owned corporation, is entitled to petition the PUC to set rates that not only recovers their cost of operation, but returns them a profit, a rate of return. So that's where they differ from us. The PUC is responsible for setting what they feel are reasonable rates, and there's nothing that prevents Suez or any other private agency or company like that, for instance, like National Grid, from filing anytime they believe a rate increase is in order. So for us, in 2012, the PUC approved a rate increase with Suez for 18.4%, in 2014 for 32.8%, and they're back again this year. The two main categories that apply to us are the bulk water sales. Suez is requesting an increase of about 18.9%, which would result in about a $70,000 impact on our wholesale water budget per year. And then under the hydrant category, Suez is proposing a 29.9% increase, which would result in about a $63,000 hit. So altogether, if the PUC were to grant what they're looking for right now, you'd be looking at about $133,000 that we did not budget for. Suez is asking for immediate ruling on this. That's typical. That's standard with those type of filings. Assuming that you bless this and we file as an intervener, we'll be joining with South Kingstown and Union Fire District. The three entities will hire a financial consultant that is qualified to testify before the PUC. He or she will review the documents, act on our behalf, and we'll file our claim. And we'll keep you posted as we go through all of that. South Kingstown has offered to take the lead on hiring a financial consultant. They did that last time as well. So I should have more for you on that at the next meeting. And then we'll keep you posted. This will not take effect March 1st as Suez requested. Once we file as an intervener, the PUC will grant us time to review the case. They'll schedule public hearings. We'll make our testimony. If I had to predict, I would say it would be more like 6 months before it will take effect. I can't predict where this will land. I can tell you that I don't know if anyone's ever walked away from the PUC without a rate increase. We will certainly challenge every bit of this that we think is reasonable, but I'm fairly confident that there'll be something that lands out of all.
Does this protect this intervention just for the town's business with Suez, or does it also help the consumer?
Consumers as well.
So it's the entire, okay.
Yeah, they have proposed increases across basically every class of business.
Okay.
And I'll get you a summary of all of them once we distill them out, but the two immediate ones for us were the ones that would impact the preparation of our budget this year, obviously.
Thank you. When do you think, rough ballpark, the first hearing would be at that level, PUC level?
I think it's a month, Matt, because they'll give us time to hire a consultant to file an actual intervenor status motion, which our solicitor will do, and then we'll have an opportunity to file a brief. So I would say probably 30 to 45 days before there's a first hearing.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved 4-0. Item number 11 is a motion to award the bid for rubbish removal beach for the Parks and Recreation Department to the lowest bidder, Joe Harvey Landscaping, at their quoted bid price of $44,000 annually for a 2-year period.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, this item comes from Steve. Are there any, first, Jim, did you want to address this?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
In full disclosure and transparency, which we strive for in this town, we would just want to discuss this bid with the town council. So the person that would be awarded this bid, if this was approved by the town council, his name is Joe Harvey. He's an employee of the town. He's a supervisor of Parks and Recreation. Mr. Harvey approached me about a month ago prior to the bids being submitted and asked if he would be able to himself, his company, bid on this project. I really didn't have the answer to that, so I asked the town solicitor to research it for me, and the research indicated that he could bid on it like any other citizen could. But there were several things that the town solicitor asked me that I had the answers for, and I want to bring to your attention. Did he have a good attendance record? Flawless. Was he a good employee? Excellent. Any issues at all, disciplinary? None. Do you have any concerns at all as a town manager? None. So I gave Mr. Harvey permission. There's nothing to prevent him from putting in for this, this bid, and he did. And when the bids were open, he was the low bidder. I had a discussion with him after. I explained to him that appearance is everything in this town, and that we don't work side deals here, so this has to be in the open, which it is. But also, I had to get some assurances from him that he would not use any sick time, comp time, vacation time to conduct the job. The job would be done well before his shift or well after his shift. There'd be no conflicts whatsoever. That his job as a supervisor in Parks and Rec would come first. That there would absolutely be no type of conflict. I was given that assurance. I will tell you that he is a model employee. He works very hard. And I would hate to, while we don't want to discriminate against anyone else, I don't want to discriminate against him either. He has a legitimate company, and he's given me the assurances I need. He also knows that if any time any of this confidence is breached, he could be terminated from that contract, and we will hold him as accountable as we would to anyone else. So he's here tonight. I respectfully request that the town council approve this, and I am very comfortable with the conditions of it.
Thank you. Any further questions?
I got no problem with that.
All right, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion approved, 4-0.
Congratulations, and good luck with that one. That's a tough haul there.
Item number 12 is a motion to approve the final balancing change order for the Town Beach South Parking Lot Seawall Project with Narragansett Dock Works Incorporated in the deduct amount of $14,274.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, this item comes from Steve. Been dealing with this for a while, but this looks like we'll be actually saving some money, correct? Good. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved, 4-0. Item number 13 is a motion to approve the replacement of the personnel entry doors at the Public Works Westmoreland Street facility to be completed by Abcor Restoration Company in the amount of $14,866.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, this item comes from Mr. DeCicco. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Motion approved, 4-0. Item number 14 is a motion to waive the current policy and authorize the use of the miscellaneous repair and construction services contract with George Sherman Sand and Gravel Incorporated to perform replacement and repairs of the existing 12-inch storm drain on Hope Lane in the amount of $65,128.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, this item also comes from Mr. DeCicco.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So the first comment that the town council waive its current policy, so what current policy are you talking about?
It's up to 50,000.
That's correct. So the current policy is to get special approval,
Okay.
anything over $50,000.
That's all I need to know.
Right, so for the $50,000 expenditure, we need to,
Got it.
and this is an emergency situation from what?
Yep,
that's
It's
correct.
fair to characterize it that way. All right, any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion approved, 4-0. Item number 15 is a motion to authorize the town manager to sign a one-year agreement with the Washington County Community Development Corporation to provide management and administration of the Narragansett Community Development Block Grant Program, and to authorize payment for this service at their proposed rates.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, this item comes from Mr. DeLuca. Any questions for him? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 4-0. All opposed, sorry. Motion approved, 4-0. Item number 16, a motion to allow the town manager to fill a vacancy in the tax assessor's office.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Mannix. I'll reference my comments from previous meetings. The tax assessor's office was just restructured. We had Mr. Alan Booth, who handled that position for many years. He was doing full-time work in a part-time position, so he was working approximately 20 hours a week. We had 2.5 positions in that office. Mr. Booth was the half, We had a deputy who was a full-timer and a clerk who was a full-timer. Once we hired a full-time tax assessor, David Doltz, we looked at the workload he would have and the type of management style he would have. Would he be in the field much? Would he be in the office much? And we would evaluate whether we could use a floater clerk in that clerk's position that was left vacant. So once again, my goal was to keep 2.5 positions there. Several months have gone by. I had a meeting with Laura Kenyon, the supervisor of the tax assessor's office. I had a meeting with David Doltz. And also Mr. Patrick Murray, actually, Mr. Murray actually spoke to me about it. The priorities of that office, there's a big job. This is a reval year. We have a lot of work. He's redoing the system that was in place by Mr. Booth. Looking at the workload he has, and that he spends a tremendous amount of time in the field, which is a little different than Mr. Booth's type of style that he had, I think it's very prudent to fill that full-time clerk's position. My concern is that he would fall behind administratively, especially with the homestead. He got approximately 3,500 applications just in the past couple of weeks. So that job has taken on a whole new role, and I'm respectfully requesting that full-time clerk be filled, not just with a floater, half-time, but go back to the full-time position. So I'm really not creating another position. I'm just filling the one that's there, but the tax assessor is also a full-time position.
So there'd be 3 positions in the
That's
tax
correct.
assessor's office?
That's correct.
2.5 to 3.
That's correct. Well, it's technically 2.5 to 3, but the pay is the same.
Right.
It's still the same amount of money being spent in the
We
budget.
have a lot of assessments that need to be scrutinized.
Any questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion, all opposed? Motion approved, 4-0. The next item, item 17, is a motion to approve the filling of a clerk vacancy created during the clerk transfer process.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. This is, was it fair to characterize this as if we have a lot of clerks in different departments move around, you want to have the ability to do this? This is not necessarily an empty position right now. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
May I add something, Mr. Mannix? So this, because of the union negotiations we had, where July 1st is of 2018 is the new date where we could have many retirements because of the change in the health care, we do expect many clerks, several clerks, to retire. And that is going to create several openings. It's going to have a ripple effect upon the clerk rank. We could have many people bidding into other positions. We could have several retirements. This will create the tools we need to collect, start advertising for some of these jobs, which are very important, and have a good applicant pool when and if the time comes when we have to fill these spots. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved, 4-0. Item number 18, a motion to acknowledge the years of service by Lori Labor and allow the town manager to fill the controller vacancy in the finance division.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Mannix, thank you again. So this position, Lori Labor has been an employee of the town, valued employee for approximately 25 years. She has announced her retirement effective April 20th. Her position is vital to the town. Accounts receivable, accounts payable. It will create a void in the finance department that needs to be filled quickly and with the right person. She was gracious enough to give us several months to find a replacement, to do a smooth transition, which I'm very thankful to her for that. So of any position on the agenda tonight, this one's vital that I get permission to start advertising and start searching for a replacement, suitable replacement. Thank you.
All right, we want to thank Lori for her service to the town over the last many years. And are there any questions from the council? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved, 4-0. Item number 19 is a motion to schedule a work session with Bacon and Company to discuss and review the 2017 annual financial report, the audit.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. The suggested date for the work session with the auditors is March 19th. So this would be a motion to schedule this for March 19th at 6:30 p.m. All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
All opposed? Motion approved, 4-0. Item number 20 is a motion to appoint an individual to the Harbor Management Commission as an alternate member for an unexpired one-year term to expire on June 30th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
So I'm looking for a motion to fill, the individual would be, is there a motion for the appointment of Joe Hart Jr.?
I'll move the motion.
I'll second that.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved, 4-0. Item number 21 is a motion to appoint Drew McGee to the Galley Advisory Committee to fill a vacant seat with a term to expire on May 31st, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved, 4-0. Item number 22 is a motion to reappoint an individual to the Tax Assessment Board of Review for a 3-year term to expire on February 17th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. This reappointment, the individual will be David Archambault. Right. So technically, I need somebody to make the motion for him.
I'll move that motion to appoint David Archambault for the 3-year term expiring February 17th.
I'll second.
No, I'm sorry, expiring February 17th, 2021.
Wow.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Motion approved, 4-0. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved, 4-0. Enjoy the Olympics, everyone. Take care.
Go URI, come on.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.